What if all adults would vanish from the face of the earth? It would be incredibly dramatic and majorly disruptive to society, but it is not impossible. If this were to happen, what would the world look like in a few years? Children would undoubtedly be the most effective at running the world, but what if they were forced into that position before they fully understood their new responsibilities? That's a question that is impossible to answer with any true certainty, but the thought of it is nonetheless fascinating. Children dream of waking up to a world without adults, but if that actually happened, they probably wouldn't know what to do with themselves. There is a debate about the impact that video games and partying would have on society in the face of such a potential crisis. Some would say that they could be good for society by encouraging people to get along and play or party with one another, while others believe that they would only exacerbate the situation by distracting people from their daily lives. In a society, the adults are responsible for many tasks such as managing finances, driving, and having children. Without them, life would be very different. When the adults are not around, it can be difficult for children to navigate their way through the environment. This is why it is important for parents to continue to oversee their child's development, making sure that they are provided with support and supervision throughout their development. Without power, heat, and other important resources, we would eventually see an overwhelming amount of airplanes and other transit systems come to a crashing halt. It is only a matter of time before these stop as well. The children would turn to the oldest remaining inhabitants of the earth and humanity's last chance of survival: teenagers. The teenagers were the last hope for humanity, but could they hold out long enough to help save humanity? Teenagers may not have the best reputation in the world, but they have been known to step up in times of crisis. This is particularly true when it comes to disasters, where teens are often among the first responders. They are also called upon by their communities during natural disasters when adults are not found to be adequate enough for certain tasks. Teenagers are known for their tendency to be unreliable or responsible, but their rebellious nature means they are willing to take on tasks that some other members of society might not be able to. They are also known for being daring and willing to try new things. Eventually, any initial excitement that a teenager might have about the absence of adults, such as being able to drink alcohol or never having to go to school again, would be very short-lived. Remember, if they discovered that millions of people, their loved ones included, had vanished, it would be a devastating discovery to them and the world around them. The loss of such a large number of people would not only be an emotional distress, but the world would also fall apart and nobody would know where everyone had gone. Without any more emissions, fossil fuel power plants would stop first, with nuclear power plants following shortly afterwards. Wind power plants, solar power plants, and hydroelectric power would be the only sources of energy that would remain in the event of a global catastrophe. There is no guarantee that anyone who has not had similar experience might step up in the event of a power station breakdown in the future. However, there are plenty of teenagers who have done co-ops at power stations or whose parents worked in the field. In the past, teens have had a strong ability to rally together and organize movements on social media, but with limited power, the internet would not last for long. The consequences of this would be devastating, because there would be no way to integrate the tribe with the outside world. The children and teens would revert back to their tribal past and revert to working up survival techniques among themselves. Teenagers would be forced into maturity out of necessity, and the odds are they would be pretty good at it. There is no doubt that teenagers are becoming more and more adept in the workplace, especially when it comes to general competencies that define adulthood. We've seen them excel before, and studies have even shown that they are barely inferior to adults in terms of core competencies. With the institutional knowledge of how to progress as far as humanity had, these new leaders would be more than capable of building it back up to that point. It is easy to see why some cities and towns would still be able to thrive without the use of technology, considering that, for example, A town that is close enough to a city or town that has a supply of water will stabilize more quickly than a town that is further away from such resources. And although fear and frustration might make it tempting to use violence to gain whatever resources remained, the only way society would survive is through cooperation. As societies have returned to self-sufficiency, governments have been able to establish new systems of trade and even set up new organizations focused on recreation. As more goods are produced, people are able to afford more luxury goods that offer them more happiness. On the bright side, there would probably be a great ecological benefit, as carbon emissions and resource extraction would drop significantly. Yet, there would also be a giant paradigm shift in our society, with the normalization of cooperation and work together for the survival of the human race. In other words, what's happening is that we are seeing a movement towards a more coordinated understanding that humans need to work together in order to survive. It is the attitude that we should be accepting of our differences and appreciate our skills, talents, and ethnic backgrounds. We should make wise choices that would preserve the earth and lead to a better understanding of each other.